Can you talk about the difference between awakening and enlightenment?
Okay. First of all, in one way, they're both just words. And yet, I find it important to find clarity in the process. Going home. An awakening, I feel, is quite unconsciously thrown around, especially in the New Age environment. In Buddhism, they have different teachings, as I understand, between 7 and 10 different kinds of stages of awakening until you reach full enlightenment as the Buddha. So they have created from their experience the perfect circumstances for these different stages to happen in a safe way, while also having teachers and masters helping you through this process. In the Western world, do not have that. And sadly, many people get hurt and fall ill due to unawareness, sometimes ignorance. As I understand at Brown University, they even have a house for people who have fallen ill during meditation, for instance. I read a paper about this, and they both had the Buddhist view and the Eastern view and the Western, more scientific view, and the awakening was seen upon in a very different way. Losing yourself is a good thing in the Buddhist practices. Losing yourself in the Western society can mean that you end up in the psychiatric ward with no understanding of this kind of processes. Rather become medicated. And there is something called the dark night of the soul. The term was established by a Christian mystic. It's kind of the process that happens after waking. The Buddhists call it enlightenment's evil twin. And from my observation and the stories I've heard from people, it seems to be a process of 3 to 5 years. And this is how I define it from what I've learned and observed. Awakening is the realization of your true nature. And to me, that realization is the embodiment of that seeing. It's the start of the process towards enlightenment. Enlightenment is the living, the awakening. There's a term called satori, which is a glimpse of enlightenment. But to have that glimpse doesn't mean that you're awakened. It can just be an intellectual preview, you could say, of the awakened state. And for many, especially Westerners who haven't practiced and had the right circumstances to have this awakening, which can also be seen as a very strong shift of perspective, changing your whole construct of the world. That could be so intimidating for your construction of the world that you dissociate as a response to the fear that your body is feeling. Because the life, the circumstances you have created in this life, and the ego or the concept of the self gets too scared. And dissociation is one of the 3 responses when we are in a fearful environment. It's to fight, flight, and freeze. Freeze, and you can dissociate if it's too much. And from what I've learned about the nervous system and trauma, and how to read bodily signals when you are dissociated, someone like Eckhart Tolle, for instance, sits like this. This is being in fear, not relaxed. It doesn't mean that it's not awakened. To me, it seems yes. But it does mean that it's not yet come back to the body. It's not yet living in enlightenment. Some say that's the next step of awakening, to come back to your body, to live more wholly. Holy or whole. awakening is not a psychological mental construct of the world. Does that mean that you intellectually can handle more complexity, persistence? And in the Western world, it seems many in academia wants to have a construct that could be measured with psychological tests for different stages, maybe some goals. But awakening means all constructs and goals. So all those models evaporates. It's the absence of those constructs, or the absence of the attachment the construction of self or ego has to measure oneself against the construct of ideas and words. And the dark night of the soul is what happens when you awaken, coming back to the body, see all your patterns, all your distortions, all your egos, all your egos, layers and shadows, and everything has a cause and effect in this madness. And it's usually not a pleasant process. Because it's not anymore about changing the external world. Because now the processes are all inside of yourself. They're no longer in duality. And you'll see that this darkness and light is within you. This victim and oppressor is within you. All of these different dualities and polarities and drama. Something within. It also means that you are responsible. And then you need to stay. And all this intensity, all this mixed emotions, mixed thoughts, thousand perspectives, all the stories trying to get you somewhere else. Sorting out the mess. That you thought was your life. Until there is enough clarity relaxation to be and to see the play of life without getting caught in the illusionary. And depending on your experiences, your constructs and patterns, there's different things you need to do or be in this process of awakening. And somewhere in this falling into the one, there will be enough space for being to be primary state consciousness. And there will be so much space that these perspectives, polarities, dramas, duality can flow around. And this that earlier was too intense, energetically, emotionally for you to be with. It's not possible. That's not only possible. Somewhere it all starts to be the same. The categorization, definitions of different things. It's now life. So for me, awakening is the awakening, irreversible. And then there's the process of falling into yourself, coming home. Awakening as the stone is coming through the surface of the water, the falling stone. Life, and everyone might not become enlightened. That's not the point. Paradoxically, only one, the only thing that cares about these different stages is the ego itself. It's not about that. The process is light. The now is the process. There's no path. There's no steps. And yet, it can be helpful to have words sometimes. There's nothing to go back to. This is it.
Just for my own curiosity, when you said that the awakening is like the stone dropping, making the moves, and that happens several times if you're very stubborn and you kind of pick the stone up out of the water and don't let it settle down to the water again, and then you keep getting that very painful dreams many times.
I would say no. You might have experienced many experiences before. And many people might have them with psychedelics, for instance. That's not it. my observations that you had a couple of weeks ago. And you haven't left the connection with the source. You might have had similar patterns as before, trying to get away. But it's no longer possible. That's why I call that the awakening. And that's a very important step. Because once you're inside, once you're connected to yourself, you'll see what you have done. And you can no longer run away. So the process towards enlightenment intensifies. And you could say it even starts there. You could also say it ends there. Just the movement is already there. And one thing that's important to point out is that the stereotypes of the enlightened or enlightened man or woman is not from the enlightened ones. It's more about being whatever underlying patterns connects you with life. Becoming life itself. Being. Words. Just words. Listen. Your own experience. Feel. Life. Nature. All that's present here in this moment. And you'll see it's not even possible to drink a glass of water without becoming this water, with the water becoming you. It's no separation. And this is important. This is real. It's not a week's workshop. It's life. It's your life. Every moment.
I feel the water calling me to go for a swim.
Let's connect with water.
Thank you.